This is MC Alpha.
Now we want to first make sure we can hear our guest. Say hello.
Hello, everybody.
There. Oh my gosh, that was perfect. All right, everybody. Now we want to welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, the incredibly talented super actor Alpha Trivette. Hello and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Ron. What a pleasure. I was so honored when you sent me a message, Jimmy, saying we'd like to be interviewed on the show. And I went, great. Yes, absolutely. Because I tell you, somebody you talked to not too long ago was a castmate of mine on Too Close to Home, Robert Craighead.
Greatest guy. We love him to death. Yep. Robert Craighead was on our show, and so was Britt George.
Yep.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
We had Britt George, too. And Too Close to Home is one of the greatest shows. For anybody who doesn't know what it is, it's a Tyler Perry show. And you actually play Dr. Allen, who has dementia. And I know that's something that's near and dear to your heart also. And you are excellent at it. You played the role so well, it's not even funny.
Thank you. I had my dad suffered dementia. And so it was, I dedicated that role to him. And a lot of my dad is in Dr. Allen. Because it's so special, that role. And then it's also to my mom, who was his caregiver for a number of years, because the caregivers of people who suffer dementia deserve so much credit. And so,
absolutely. You know who is suffering badly from it now is someone who I know from years ago, Joanne Woodward, Paul Newman's wife. She's got Alzheimer's really bad. I mean, and they don't expect her to live very long. And it's a shame because she's not that old.
Right.
Well,
one thing that has done, though, is led me to be a celebrity spokesperson for Second Wind Dreams, which is basically a Make-A-Wish Foundation for the elderly, for people in senior care. And they also conduct the virtual dementia tour, which actually shows people what it's like for those people who are suffering dementia. And it's an amazing organization. Excuse me, it's global. Based here in Atlanta, and I'm proud to be associated with them because of my role as Dr. Allen and because of my dad.
I have a theory. I know a few people who have passed away from Alzheimer's in the business. They all had a tragedy, and then the disease set in. When Paul Newman passed away, Joanne Woodward was a basket case. I mean, she was vegetable. Her mind started to even in her emails or her whatever she used to write wasn't quite right. And I believe it's because the loss of Paul Newman was so tragic that she couldn't deal with it, that maybe it opens the door to this disease. Other people who have had it have also had tragics. Esther Williams, who I loved and adored and I knew well, had her daughter.
That's right. Do you know who Esther Williams is?
I do, of course, yes.
Of course he knows Esther Williams. Her
swimming star, and then
her daughter was killed in an automobile accident, and she was never the same afterwards. So I think they should research the fact that the brain sort of maybe just wants to shut down, so the pain is not so great.
There may be some truth to that, and that's Second Wind Dreams is helping with Alzheimer's research and hopefully finding what those triggers might be, and maybe one day that we'll be able to.
Did your father have a tragedy?
No, I mean, well, yes and no. I mean, we had a number of them in our lives. I mean, we had a house that burned down, and but Dad was 80. He was probably well into his 70s before it started showing itself, and then he was 84 when he died. So
he's 77.
I'm 77, so that's why I'm laughing.
But to me, that is young because both my grandfathers were 96 when they died.
Right.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Grandmother, my dad's mother was 105.
Wow.
His father only died because he was out one day plowing and was getting off the tractor, and he caught his pants on and fell and broke his hip. And it was a few months later he declined. But I mean, he would probably still be alive now.
Right. Well, I intend to be around till 95, and then that's it. No more.
Hang on one second, though, because we didn't do our regular intros. I got too wrapped up because we started talking. You already know Ron, so I don't have to introduce him. We have the man behind the boards, Chad Murphy. So say hi to Chad.
Chad, how are you?
Doing well. Welcome to the show. Good to have you.
Thank you.
And then we have a chat room full of people, so just say, hey, chat room.
Hey, chat room full of people.
There you go. So you guys, Alpha Trivette, besides being an actor before he got out of college, he was an athlete, a scholar. He was the national president of Future Farmers of America. He worked at the White House. He traveled to London on Air Force Two. I don't know what that is. What's the difference between Air Force Two and Air Force One?
It's a small.
Air Force Two is when the vice president is riding.
Oh, okay. There you go. He also worked in public relations, was a stand-up comic, a radio personality for 25 years, and now he's like one of the most sought-after actors around. So we're very happy to have you, and I love your credits, like, because you actually are in like things that I like. Like Banshee is a great show. Too Close to Home is a great show. I know you play a judge in the new Tom Cruise movie that's out right now, Made. So congratulations on that one.
I love the fact you're working at your age.
I'm wearing my Proctor Meats shirt there.
Like Superman. I'm happy that you're working at your age because, unfortunately, women in Hollywood at 40 are no longer desired. But men somehow can go, like Sean Connery, can go into being 70 and 80 years old and still working. That's an American Hollywood thing. In Europe, Judi Dench is working and they're all way in their 80s. So I'm happy that you represent I'm older than you are, but similar generations.
Well, Ron, I think you're right too, because I'm seeing lots of breakdowns and roles coming in for people our age.
Right.
And I think that's very encouraging. Because I think we're beginning to realize that people in our age group still have an awful lot to offer. And God willing, I'm still around and still working when, to be Sean Connery's age and hopefully still booking a few roles. That would be nice.
Well, I think it's going to go that way because I have a friend that's a producer, and he told me that there's a quota now. They have to have X amount of diversity with people. And my age, 77, is really a great age because I could play a great-grandfather. So when I get back out to L.A., we're moving back, I intend to go to work again as an old character actor.
Good for you.
So I'm happy that you're working.
I want to talk about that, though, because you're in Atlanta. I mean, you're booking all these shows, and you live in Atlanta, which I know Atlanta now is kind of like a hot spot with Tyler Perry and The Walking Dead, and you've been in all kinds of Tyler Perry productions and in movies with him and TV shows with him and TV shows that he actually are his shows. First of all, because I love Tyler, I'm a big fan of Tyler Perry. Is Tyler Perry like really cool? I hope you say yes.
Oh, I love him too.
He's one of the most genuinely nice people, and to be of his, to where he is in his station in life, he is so approachable and so kind and generous and giving, and it is wonderful to work for him, though he works awfully fast. I don't know if you've heard about how things operate on the Tyler Perry Studios lot, but with Too Close to Home, we did 2 seasons of 8 episodes each, and we would shoot all 8 episodes in less than 10 days. Yeah. He also does a show, The Has and Have Nots, on Home. They do 23 episodes in about 2 weeks. So he works fast.
There you go.
Well, there's a lot of Hollywood legends that were one-shot picture people. Humphrey Bogart was one. Humphrey Bogart did not like to do a second take. He was a one-take person. And people that worked with him were nervous about it. Even his then-wife, Lauren Bacall, because she told me that working with Bogey, she said, was a bitch.
Actually, though, I
think those were her exact words.
I think, though,
he was tough to work with, and he was her husband on one of the films.
Don't you think, though, it has to do with money? You got to get stuff in and done where you can, afford it.
It's just actors don't want to do it twice or 3 times.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, like, Tyler Perry. Like, he has to get his season shot because they don't have money.
Also, they lose the moment. When you do it too much, the moment's gone. They like the fresh beginning, like the one shot, because that's it. That's the character, crisp and sharp.
Are you good? You get it on one shot, Alpha?
You know what? We in season 1 there was a very, very emotional scene where my character, Dr. Allen, gets up in the middle of the night and he goes into his son Brock or Brody, played by Brock O'Hearn, and I know you know Brock. He's just an Adonis, just a gorgeous man. Yep. And he sneaks into his room to shoot him, thinking he's someone else. Right. And that was the most emotional scene, because then comes the realization of the doctor realizes, oh my God, he's almost killed his son, and then he tries to take the shotgun and he begs Brody to shoot him because he can't deal with what he's going through. And we did that. if I remember correctly, we did that in 3 takes.
And it's exhausting.
Fabulous.
Even 3 takes
is
is
exhausting, but
exhausting.
and emotional and
Yeah.
and you're right, Ron, getting all that, at one time. I remember after our first scene, after the first take, I remember hearing Tyler going, "Oh my God." And it made me realize, okay, that must have been an okay
Good shot.
So, and we did it a couple more times, and it included shooting the pillow beside Brock's head, and everything went well. And
I have to say though, Brock O'Hearn, just to for anybody who doesn't know who he is, you guys need to look him up. He should have been. I mean, he could play like Aquaman. Instead, they got Jason Momoa, but he could have played Aquaman. He is going to be
He could have played Batman.
He's going to be a superstar, Brock O'Hearn. He really is. And he hasn't done that much besides that, and I think he's in Boo and stuff. He hasn't done a ton of things, but people are going to realize who he is, and he's going to end up being one of the biggest people out there.
Now,
he's got a couple million. I'm sorry. He's got a couple million Instagram followers, and he does romance novel covers, and he
models
with a shirt off a lot. And he's only 25, maybe 20.
Yeah,
but he's the nicest kid in the world. I love this kid. And if I play his dad in Too Close to Home, and if I were his real dad, I couldn't be any prouder. He's just the nicest guy in the world.
Love it. Love to hear that.
Now, how are you with lines?
Not bad.
I'm forget about it.
Yeah, I'm pretty good with my lines.
No, I can rehearse the lines for days, and I've got the lines, and then when I deliver them, I rewrite them.
And with some directors.
They're not too happy about it.
Yeah, well,
if I were working with what's his name? Quickly. Frankenstein, young Frankenstein.
Gene Wilder?
No,
Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks. It would be fine.
Yeah.
Because Mel Brooks would let you do whatever you want.
That would be so much fun to work for Mel Brooks. I hope I get a chance to do that one day.
Oh, you and me both.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? He's incredible.
So another thing I like about your career is that you haven't been pigeonholed, because I'm a very big horror movie fan, and so most horror movie stars and the big stars in horror have a very difficult time breaking out of it. You've done a lot of horror movies, but then you've done a lot of cool kids movies. You've done comedies, you've done dramas. So you haven't been pigeonholed in the horror thing, which I think is really cool because that way you can do it without, being known as the horror movie star, because I think that's very hard to break out of.
I think I have some flexibility. My agent Joy Purvis calls me her chameleon. She says I can morph into whatever character that I'm portraying, and I credit a lot of that to my stand-up comedy days when I did a lot of impressions. And when you do impressions, you actually on stage immediately become that character. And so I think, I don't know if that's a natural ability that came through the grace of God or however I got it, but
he can do it too.
We talked about this. We talked about this with a guest last week, and he's stand-up comic. I did stand-up for 40-something years.
Oh, did you?
But in drag as Jane Russell. And I sang and did, jokes about my life and stuff. It was a great show. It ran forever. And I never had a script. I didn't want a script. I just went out there and I did it. Where it came from, I'll never know. Yeah. But it comes from someplace. And that you become the character.
Yeah, and that experience, I think, gives you a chance to improvise and to ad-lib and be off the cuff and be more natural. I mean, and I kind of miss a live audience, being on stage as a comic. I don't miss the grueling touring and all that stuff. But
horrible.
I miss the instant feedback, that comes from a live audience. I mean, of course, you don't get that.
Well, it depends on where you work. If you work in Brooklyn back 40 years ago or 50 years ago, your audience was primarily Jewish and Italian. And you can't get a better audience than Italian Jews in Brooklyn. Let me tell you something. They were with you all the way, and you could get dirty and do dirty jokes, and they loved it. The best audiences. Now when you travel up to the waspier neighborhoods, you get the prudes, the people that are very, very waspy. They're very proper.
Me, I'm a wasp.
Very, very proper. Then you got to really break your hump to get them to laugh, because they don't really laugh that much. Their laughter is...
Yeah, there's a lot of people who do that, But now with comedy, there's so many people who get so easily offended, and
frig them.
Yeah, you have to be
called a joke.
I know, and I think we have lost our national sense of humor in a lot of ways.
Oh, I agree 100%.
If you cannot laugh at yourself, you're worthless, because you have to laugh at yourself. And we are a joke.
This goes back a little bit, Ron, to what we talked about at the beginning of the interview. Norman Lear is doing a new sitcom that's based in a senior's home. And hopefully Norman Lear will be able to have the kind of humor that he had back in the 70s, 60s, and 70s, with the shows that he produced then, because that's when we could really honestly laugh at each other and have fun with each other and learn from each other. And now it's like, oh, you can't say that. You can't, it makes me tired of people who are so easily offended.
He says that every day.
But you know what really annoys me? In the privacy of one's home, the things that are said about everybody are the things that they call racist and terrible things. I have a very close set of friends, mostly actors, some very famous, I will never name them, who absolutely refer to black people as you know what, as to gay people as the faggot. I mean, they don't mean to be mean. It's not that they're doing it to be hurtful or mean. It's just the way to, oh, you mean Ron Russell, that big queen? They don't mean to be mean about it. You follow? It's just that in the privacy. But the minute they go public, they're the first ones to say, oh, racism. Oh, no. It's a bullshit. Everybody in their silent thoughts says something nasty about somebody else.
Well, I hope we can get past a lot of that.
Oh, who gives a shit? It's only a name. Forget about it. Move on with your life. Cancer. How about the word cancer? That word disturbs me more if I say somebody's got cancer than if that somebody's a Jew or a whatever, or a fag. You know what I mean? Cancer.
We're gay, so we can say that, by the way. I don't know if he knows that, because he doesn't know us.
Jimmy and I
we're married.
And we're married.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
For 5 years. My last film, by the way, I played a Brooklyn cop, a tough Brooklyn cop, so I am an actor. I can go from this to that.
So hold on, because we don't have a whole lot of time, and I want to get some. First of all, because I went down to your IMDb and I looked at all your different credits, and believe it or not, I've seen a lot of things, even though I didn't know they were you, because I didn't know who you were then, But I thought I would just bring up, because your second film on IMDb, I don't know if there's other stuff that's not included, but you did a movie called The Time to Triumph, and I'm bringing it up just because I'm a little bit friendly with Sean Astin, and I know that Patty Duke was in it, and Joe Bologna is in it, he's been on the show. He was on our show a couple of years ago.
Joe is the best.
He was a good friend of Ron's.
Oh, I love Joe Bologna. Oh, I'm so sad that he's gone. The planet lost one of the most decent, I'm going to cry in a minute, beautiful human beings. He wanted to be a priest,
No, I didn't know that.
Yes, he was studying to be a priest his young years. And as a friend, he was a priest. Not in garment. He was Renee's husband. But when he spoke to you as a priest would. And he would soothe you and make you feel Oh, I just hope there's a heaven.
He was also in one of my favorite movies, My Favorite Year, which I totally adore.
Oh,
yeah, it's a great movie.
I just love Joe Bologna. And I love Renee, too.
Doing that, that was the first big motion picture that I was cast in, and I played the warrant officer. The story is based on a true story about the first woman to complete the Army flight program, and Patty Duke played that woman, and Joe Bologna.
Great actress.
And yes, and she was such a delight. She was so wonderful. And she was so kind and giving to, because, when you've got an Army recruit scene, you got some kids. And there was one poor kid, and they say, well, we got to shave your head. And she goes, no, you're not unless you're paying him. And she went to bat for him, and she made sure he got extra money for them. He was like, oh, sure, okay, no problem. She goes, no, they're paying you if they're going to shave your head.
Very nice.
I've dealt with the legends of Hollywood because of my age. Wonderful people.
Yeah.
The great legends. I mean, Jane Russell, Lauren Bacall, Cliff Robertson, all of those people I interviewed. Wonderful. The minute you interview the trash of today, the little snatches and the little fruits.
Not all of them.
Not all of them, but a lot of those little bitches of today that they're selfing them. They're taking selfies while you're interviewing them. And you ask them a question and they're bored. How the fuck are they ever going to get a career going if they don't do the interview? Years ago, you were trained on how to give an interview.
Right, yeah.
Today, the little bitches sit there. They're finagling. They're showing their twats, their tits, whatever they can, just to get the attention of the public. Oh, by the way, we're unfiltered. You can say whatever you like.
Kind of gathered that, yeah. No, one of the things that I tell young actors is to get grounded, for crying out loud, because sometimes you can be so fast-tracked into one stream that you don't see what's going on in the rest of the world. And that's what was true about actors of long ago. I mean, they had their own lives. They actually did. They worked for a living before they became what they became, and they understood that just by the grace of God, they could be out of the business and doing something else. So there was a degree of humility, I think, that doesn't exist not only in the entertainment world, but I think in the world in general. I think
I agree with you.
There's too many people who feel entitled, and the world owes them something, and you have to give it to them. And I just get. So what I tell kids is be grounded, understand what it takes to make a living, wash your own clothes, for crying out loud.
But they don't.
Plant
Two
potatoes.
things bother me. An actor who really is an actor like you, lives it, eats it, sleeps it, only wants to do it, has no other love. Reality jerks, they pick up on a farm somewhere, have them with a 600-pound wife shitting in a bathtub, and that's what I'm serious. I in the bathtub. These 600-pound people can't use a toilet. They sit on a bathtub and shit. That's been on television. I almost fell out of bed.
And that's entertainment. I mean,
I almost fell out of bed. I said to Jimmy, I've seen it all now. Okay? But an actor like you who gives his life to his work doesn't get the work because those reality crap is all over TV and every place else.
One of the speaking of the older generation of actors, one of the greatest live shows I ever saw. I lived in Seattle. Was doing the morning show there at KMGI, and they have a festival there they call Bumbershoot. And the headliners for Bumbershoot that year with a live show were Sid Caesar, Imogene Coca, Tom Poston, and Louis Nye. And they did an hour-and-a-half live show on stage, and it was a scream. Imogene Coca was probably 83 at the time, and she did a striptease. She came out with a trench coat, and in a 10-minute striptease, all she took off was the belt, and it was the most hilarious thing. Right. And these people knew how to entertain. I mean, they were more than just actors. They were singers and dancers, and they could do so many things. And I think we've lost that in entertainment a lot. There are some actors who are multiple threat actors who can do the singing and dancing and who are wonderful people and wonderfully talented. But there's so many who are just so narrow and no experience in the world. And unless you have that, you can't reach out and get those character traits that you need to become whatever character it is you're portraying.
Now, England, there's an actress, Michelle Dockery. Michelle Dockery. She was in Abbey.
Downton Abbey.
Downton Abington. Okay?
Downton Abbey.
Now she's got her own weekly show. She interviews beautifully. She's a fabulous actress. She's the new Betty Davis.
She's in Good Behavior. Have you seen Good Behavior? You have to watch it. It's on TNT.
I would love to be in Good Behavior. That shoots right up the road here. Shoots in South Carolina.
You have to get in. I would love you to be in it. That would be great.
I would love to be in it just so I could meet her to interview her because she interviews beautifully. I've seen her on about 9 or 10 different talk show interviews. The girl has a brain. She knows how to interview. And she's not boring. Actress. And she's beautiful.
Yeah,
that was my second thing is kids today, when you ask them, why are you an actor in an interview? Oh, I want to be famous. I want to go on the red carpet in a designer gown. What are they, nuts?
Not like I want to be an actor because I love it and it's my passion.
I interviewed Tab Hunter.
We have to go.
You know who Tab Hunter is? You don't know Tab?
Yes.
Tab is a great friend of mine. And off the camera, I said to him, Tab, would you ever go to work today? He said, hell no. He said, please, the way they do shit today, he said, not me. I'm spoiled. We did it the right way. And he wasn't kidding.
Yeah, it would be so nice in some ways to go back to that time. I would love to have the experience of working with some of those actors. And
he's close to my age. He was there when work was gorgeous, when acting was beautiful, when cameras didn't fly all over the place with 1 second shots, when they held a shot.
Yeah.
Now you go to the movies, you want to throw up.
So hold on, because we've got to cut this going. So first of all, I have a question though, because I like to ask everybody who's worked with cool people. So you could work with, who's your bucket list, male and female actor that you haven't had an opportunity to work with yet that you think, oh my God, I would really like a chance to work with.
I know who he should work with, Helen Mirren. Helen Mirren and you should work together.
That would be delightful. I would love that.
You're perfect for her. Perfect.
Michelle Dockery is one that I would love to work with.
That's it. I would too.
I love Michelle.
Did you like Downton Abbey? Did you watch Downton Abbey?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Walton Goggins is another actor I'd like to work with, who's from Georgia. Timothy Oliphant, I'd like to work with him.
I like him a lot too. Timothy Oliphant.
Oh yeah.
It's a show called Justified, which I love that show.
Great show.
Ian McShane, I think, would be.
I love Ian McShane. We watched the car thing, Death Race or whatever, the other night.
He is so wonderful. He's a great person.
I love it. All right, so here's what we're going to do, you guys. First of all, you guys, Alpha Trivette is on Twitter, and he's actually runs his own Twitter, because otherwise I don't think we would have gotten in touch with him. So you can follow him on Twitter. It's at Alpha Trivette 1. It's ALPHATRIVETTE1. Number 2, I just want to say, like, you have the coolest name on the planet. First of all, nobody ever has it. You'll never get mistaken for everybody. And it's like a superhero or a spaceship, or, I mean, it's such a cool name that I think it's fabulous. And I don't know what your parents were thinking.
I think he'd rather be known for his acting than his name.
No, but his name is part of it.
When they say that guy is a hell of an actor.
And the Academy Award goes to Alpha Trivette. Yeah. I mean, that sounds so cool.
But yeah, when they say, let's get that Alpha guy, then I'm okay with that. I'm good.
You know, the guy that can act.
The guy who can act.
That's today what they have to say. I'm serious. The guy who can really act.
So also, you guys, you want to watch Alpha, you can see he's in he's got a movie called Slaw that's like a comedy take on Saw. I don't know if, is it out already?
Yes, it is. It's on, is it Hulu or Amazon?
Okay. Not one of those, you guys. It's called Slaw, but otherwise you definitely want to watch Too Close to Home, you guys. You can also see him in Banshee and a whole bunch of other stuff, but those are like the ones that I like the best.
Keep on working.
And in American Made, you can catch me there still in theaters.
That's right. In American Made in theaters right now, you guys. And
coming up soon, a movie called Mine 9, which is about a coal mine disaster in West Virginia. I play a mine supervisor. A movie called The Hounds of Dixie, I'll be in. Both of those will be coming out soon, so hopefully you will look.
And we'll bring you back when those are all coming out. We'll bring you back.
And
we'll bring you back.
I'm so happy that you're working. I really mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
You know, it's good to see some snow on the roof, as they say. I'm tired of looking at tits and ass and stupid broads with drugs and garbage people. It's so nice to see an elegant man like you. You're a distinguished, elegant man and a good actor. I've seen your work. I know your work. I wouldn't say that if I didn't know your work, because I'd make a jerk of myself. I mean, if you stink, the people, we have 4.5 million people watching this. They say, oh, Ron's so full of shit. The guy can't act his way out of a paper bag. But I can honestly say you're a good actor. I want to see that thing I've never seen when you try to shoot your son. That I'm interested in seeing that clip.
Yeah, as I said.
On your reel? Is it on your reel?
You know, I don't have that one. There's two others. There's one scene where the doctor shows up naked at the diner, and Kelly Sullivan, who is a delightful person and wonderful actor, she's also in. She shows up and finds me there naked, and that scene is a beautiful scene.
Frontal nudity?
No.
No. You know
because
what?
I'm for it.
I had to wait until I was 62 years old to get my first nude scene, and then I got two in the same year.
There you go.
Well, I believe that if you're going to exploit women naked, you should exploit men naked as well. I don't like that women have to be naked all the time and men, they cover them up. That to me is just not kosher. It's not fair.
I don't mind nudity. My homeowners association's not crazy about it.
Well, they'll just have to get used to it.
We got to go. Alpha, anytime you have anything to promote, let us know. We would love to have you back. You've been fantastic. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Great guest. Good luck with all your work. See you on TV.
Bye.
Or in the movies. See you in the movies.
There you go. Thank you, Alpha. Bye-bye.
Bye.